My name is Sufyan, I'm from Mendaki. Actually looking into the part of the better heart. I'm a younger person, so I'm going to give a suggestion instead. So we're actually looking into the idea of social safety. The PM talked about social safety net. How do we strengthen social safety net? Bring up the idea of higher taxation. It feels as though, for me personally, it feels as a threat. Actually, from the many conferences or dialogues that I've been in, most of the ministers say that, are we prepared as Singaporeans to pay higher tax to provide a better social safety net? Then there'll be highlights of like Europe, collapsing, or Greece because of this social spending. Okay, personally, I think why not have a referendum on this? Just something quite simple. My suggestion is maybe since we only have 320,000 per annum, max cap for 20%, why not look at how can we raise that and using that to spend on social transfers. Another alternative, we have budget surplus every year. So why not utilize that? A certain percentage of budget surplus we spend on social spending.
I absolutely agree with you. I didn't catch your name. He says, why can't we raise taxes and have stronger social safety nets and have a referendum? We don't need a referendum. Actually, a referendum is quite silly for this. I don't mean that. I tell you what I mean. To go around asking people, would you like me to raise your taxes? You know who tried that? Have you read? Hong Kong government. They were going to raise the GST. They went around asking. They actually had, I don't think they call it a referendum, but it was equivalent to a referendum. What do you think the answer was? Do you think they raised GST after that? No. We just have to decide that whether you just, so this is a conversation, that's important. The Americans have gone through that because they swung from extreme to extreme. And the argument is a simple one, and I'll finish after this so that you can have more questions. You as an individual citizen will just have to decide, for every dollar I have, right now we tax 20 cents, okay? Now, for other countries like in Finland and Scandinavia, where the young gentleman is talking about, they tax 40%, let's say. The GST, in fact, is higher. The top marginal bracket is probably about 45%. Their GST is about 16%. And their top marginal bracket can go up to 55%. But let's say it's 40%. So now we take 20 cents of every dollar you earn, and then we say the 80 cents you keep, you decide how you want to spend it. Right? You have to, but if you want to decide, you must put some aside for your healthcare in addition to your CPF, your schooling, your 80 cents, you decide. The alternate system is I decide, meaning government decide. Instead of taking 20 cents, I take 50 cents. So that if something happens to you, the extra 30 cents I give to you. But if nothing happens to you, I give to someone else. That's a simple way of explaining it. The Republicans in America are completely, which is now the debate, you follow it, small government. They say, no, big government makes big taxes. Big government means more social safety nets. So you say you take care of me, but I want to decide how I want to use my money. So when the Labour government in the UK came in, government spending as proportion of GDP, as a whole GDP, government spending was about 35 to 36%. When Labour government left, it jumped up to 51%. Government formed half of the entire economy and taxes went up too. America is the same debate. Now the Republicans say shrink this because big government, Obama wants to do a lot for medical care, and to do that you either have to tax. I like the young man's comments because he was very honest. He knows that if you want more social spending, you have to find the money only from taxes. That's the only, because this Singapore government, we don't print money, unlike other governments. We don't. We just don't print money. That's why your Singapore currency is strong. And even if you print money, that's not the solution. So we may have to decide, will it have to go up? I think it will have to. You know why? Because even if we spend the same dollar per person, our aging population. So Somebody asked, what's wrong with a shrinking population? Nothing, if every one of them can remain young. The problem is this: now 6 to 7 people support one person above 65. So you just imagine, let's say we're all one family, 6, everybody donate, contribute $100 a month to support that person above 60. So you have $600-700. By 2025, it will be 2.3 to 1, about 2 to 1. So instead of $100 each, the 2 people must give out $300. Unless you ask the person above 65 to have less pocket money, and you can't have that. So that's the problem. It's not only just shrinking population, it's an aging population. We don't have budget surpluses every year, by the way, you said. We don't. I don't know whether you caught this point that PM said about how much we're taking from our reserves. How many of you caught that during his PM speech? The economists here, you're quite a fiscally minded population, we call it. We took 8 billion from our reserves. So that gentleman, you can read up that part. 8 billion was one of our budget was 35 billion. Let's check the figures. But 8 billion, in other words, without taking from our reserves, we will be 15% short budget deficit. We are taking from our reserves, but we are taking the net investment, 50% of that. And we hope that the investments will continue. So we are already spending. The previous generation, many of you who are here, left us one of the greatest strengths, a piggy bank. My hope is that my generation will leave the next generation a bigger piggy bank, not a smaller one.